In this week's Primetime Living, produced in partnership with the Maryland Department of Aging and its Maryland Access Point service, we're joined in the studio by Erin Peisach, owner of Nutrition by Erin. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me about your practice. Who do you help?
Sure. So I have a practice located out in Towson, and I see a variety of different types of clients, but primarily I work with weight management, metabolic syndrome, and gastrointestinal disorders. One
of the tips that you focus on is something I haven't heard before, the idea of a hunger scale.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I think sometimes we lose touch with why we're eating. And so often people all day long, they're craving food and they're always wanting something after they just ate, and they're not really in tune with their hunger. So there's a scale you can use on a scale of 1 to 10, and basically 1 would be rock bottom, you can't even stand up straight, you're about to pass out, you're so hungry, your stomach's grumbling. And 10 is, think of after Thanksgiving dinner, you're so full you have to unbutton your pants. Okay, so somewhere in between, we should probably be about a 3 to a 7 if we're trying to really make sure our hunger is in check throughout the day. And so not overfilling, but also not letting ourselves get too hungry. Unfortunately,
very few Americans get down to a 1. So, I mean, how much are we eating just for something to do?
Yeah, so that's a common question I ask people is, what type of eating habits do you identify with? And so, there's this combination of emotional stress or even boredom eating that's occurring all the time. And we've become a society that seems to be addicted to snacking. And so it's just eating all day long and never really getting to that point of, okay, maybe I am at like a 3 and I'm ready to eat a meal and feel satisfied. Instead, it's just constant, grazing.
So you should really think about it in those terms before you eat anything. How hungry am I really?
Right. So it is tough to be mindful. We go throughout our day and we just do our daily routine. And when we eat, we're often doing 10 other things at the same time. I know I'm a victim of that too. And so it is hard to cue in with how do I feel right now, and do I feel hungry? Am I feeling stressed? Am I just feeling overtired and I'm craving sugar to boost up my energy? So it is hard to be mindful, but it's something that you can kind of tune into if you're more aware of it.
One of your tips for making sure that people eat a balanced meal is to start with the veggies, the non-starch veggies. What's the idea?
Sure. So, there's something called the plate method. Some people may be familiar with it.
Right,
but
so
basically,
we're off the scale method, we're on to the plate method.
We're on the plate method,
right.
Yeah. So if you visualize, most people are eating off of a plate, which is circular. And if you cut that plate in half, 50% of your plate should consist of non-starchy vegetables. Most people, it's an afterthought. Oh, yeah, I'll have a little bit of veggies on the side. But really, half your plate should be veggies. And so the concept of that is, veggies are packed with nutrients, packed with fiber, low in calories, going to help to fill you up and also help keep your waistline down so you're not overeating some of the other more dense items.
Is your suggestion to literally eat the veggies first, or just think about it first in putting together a plate?
I think the concept is more around when you're putting your plate together.
Okay.
There are some people who they opt to fill up first on their protein, which is fine as well. I don't think there has to be so much structure to it. But yeah, when you're filling up your plate, I think, that top priority in your brain should be around the vegetables.
And in terms of what you drink with a meal, you have a glass of water in front of you.
Big fan.
Water is recommended by everybody.
Yeah. It's free, it's just what our cells need to stay hydrated. I think the one biggest thing I see people change that makes the biggest difference in how they feel and also on achieving their health goals is getting off any sugar or sweetened beverage.
In terms of older Americans, older Marylanders, if you're in a setting where it's sort of an institutional food service, you're going to see a lot of fried foods. I don't know if that's still the case, but it's easy, and that's something you like people to avoid.
Yeah, that's another great switch that people can look for is, I know they want to go and, eat chicken and maybe eat a potato and maybe, eat their veggies. But when the preparation method is, soaking that in a batter that's maybe high in sodium, high in carbohydrates, then deep frying it in a highly inflammatory type of oil, then whatever once was healthy is no longer providing you with those health benefits. So, I can't ask that it's an always situation, but for the most part, going out of their way to, go more for grilled, broiled, sautéed, baked varieties, if that's the option.
Yeah, and back to the veggies, same thing. If you coat it with a ranch dressing or whatever,
right,
there's better ways to do it. There
is, but then the other thing to think about is if that gets you to eat it, maybe that's a good place to start, right? I don't support that, but I think if you need to put some dressing, or some kind of a dip, if that gets you to consume it, then
maybe limit the portion a little bit. But
you got it, yeah.
All right. Let's take a phone call. Cecil County, this is Derek. Derek, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
What about the comparison between lima beans and asparagus as far as nutritional value, and also the process of putting either margarine or real butter on each of those?
Derek, thank you. Quick answer on that.
Great question. So lima beans we consider in the legume family, which would be more of a starch, versus the asparagus, which would be a non-starchy vegetable. So I think that they can both be at the meal, but they're serving different purposes. And then I'm a big fan of, I'm kind of pro-fat, but the right kind of fat. So I'm really not crazy about the margarines. They often contain hydrogenated oils or highly processed oils. And I'm a bigger fan of, doing some kind of a butter, hopefully from grass-fed cow's milk.
Very good. Erin Peisach of Nutrition by Erin. Erin, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Do appreciate it. Thank you for joining us for Direct Connection. We're back Thursday at this time with Your Money and Business, and join us Friday for State Circle. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.